Hello everybody, Meta here. Continuing our journey through Generation 1 with a hack that pushes Pokemon Yellow to the max. Heck, to the extreme. A hack aptly named Pokemon Extreme Yellow version by Rainbow Metal Pigeon. And trust me, that title does not lie. Pokemon Extreme Yellow version is a ROM hack of Pokemon Yellow that overloads the game with new content, all while providing a challenging experience, giving the original complete makeover. New features such as the addition of Pokemon evolutions and moves from future generations, completely original custom locations, as well as additions to the story the original games had, a better trainer AI as well as buffing their Pokemon, and some quality of life changes, making this one of the biggest ROM hacks I've played so far. Seriously, the amount of things this hack adds to the original game is really insane. As I was playing this hack, I just kept thinking to myself, there's no way there's more stuff in this hack. And I was proven wrong again and again when I ran into more and more content waiting for me. So, let's go over what this hack has to offer. First off, Pokemon Extreme Yellow expands upon the original 151 through the additions of both pre-evolutions and evolutions from future generations, spanning up to Scarlet and Violet, expanding upon the original roster and granting the player a wider variety to choose from. It also helps the Pokemon who were originally deemed non-viable with the original games. Through these new evolutions, they become great additions to any team. The custom sprites for the evolutions are also very good looking and fit the aesthetic of Gen 1 through their designs. And another thing to notice about these sprites is that they're not limited to the game's original palette, making them look more vibrant and colorful. Also, some of the pre-existing sprites got touched up as well, and look better because of it. I really like that they took their time to recolor these sprites to match the actual designs. They really pop out more due to this, and it also makes the game feel more alive. And speaking of colors, Extreme Yellow adds in shiny Pokemon to the mix, and whether you're someone that likes hunting shinies or just a casual player, it's always nice to run into a shiny. So these are a nice little extra treat for players to enjoy. The hack also adds in the Dark, Steel, and Fairy types to the game, changing the existing Pokemon to their more modern counterparts. The additions of these types grant a more variety to the gameplay and the Pokemon themselves, adding in more strategy to battles. Plus, adding in the newer types is always a welcome addition, especially if they're implemented well, which this hack does. As for the newly added moves, Extreme Yellow adds in a ton of new moves to the game, and it gives every Pokemon a bigger learn set with these new moves, making them match their modern learn sets with a bit of extra like some tutor moves. Now, I'm not 100% sure if the moves are also up to Scarlet and Violet like the evolutions, since the Primeape I used never learned Rage Fist, but this instance could be that the coding for the move's special effect would just be a real pain. Plus they made it to where Primeape evolves without the move anyways. The hack also adds in several TMs, granting easy access to this wide selection, with most of these TMs just being made in order for the player to be able to access these new moves. To make this deal even sweeter, the hack features a second store clerk within every mart. This clerk can sell you any TM that you've attained before, so you can get access to the previously used TMs again. I will leave a link to Extreme Yellow's GitHub, where an Excel document can be found that lists all the newly added TMs, as well as the Pokemon in their learn sets. While there are a ton of new features relating to the Pokemon and the moves they use, the amount of new areas and the additions to the original game story show how much Rainbow Metal Pigeon wanted this to be the most peak way to play Pokemon Yellow. Extreme Yellow adds in new cities, new routes, new dungeons, and extensions to already existing locations, expanding Kanto to a greater scale, while still feeling like the familiar region we know. All the new areas are welcome additions and interesting places to visit filled with plenty of things to do and people to talk to, with some of them being important to progress the storyline, or possessing side quests. The first new areas to notice are two new cities that were added to the game, Obsidian Island and Ochre City. Ochre City, placed halfway between Lavender and Fuchsia, is a pretty big city that features a ton of optional and useful areas. There's an optional gym where the player can test their skills here, a research facility filled with scientists hailing from different regions, and a new side quest. The newly added Move Deleter and Move Remember are here as well, which is a very nice addition, and a couple of other neat areas and people. I really adore what they did with the city. There's plenty of things to do and many useful NPCs here. And I'm also really a big fan when other regions are mentioned because it really helps the Pokemon world feel more connected, even if it's done via ROM hack. I'm also a big fan of the town's layout because it really matches pre-existing cities within the game, so it fits perfectly. As for Obsidian Island, which lies below Celadon City, features a small town with 3 new dungeons, the Obsidian Woods, the Obsidian Mine, and the Obsidian Warehouse. The town itself isn't too much to write about, since it's just a small town featuring a couple of houses with a mart and Pokemon Center. For the dungeons though, both the woods and the mine are your standard type dungeons filled with Pokemon and items galore, while the warehouse exists for more Team Rocket shenanigans to progress the storyline forward, and help the people of the town. Speaking of Team Rocket, I want to go over them and some of the changes that were given in this hack as well as a couple NPCs. Team Rocket is given more of a presence in this hack, and you'll find them getting in your way a lot more often than normal, causing much more of a ruckus. They're also given a much more aggressive nature through their language and schemes. Giovanni is also given more of an arc in this hack, giving some character development throughout the entire time you get to see him until his final encounter. It's really neat that Team Rocket is given more of an intimidating presence, rather than just being a wacky team filled with comedic relief, so this is a pretty great change in my opinion. As for the newly added NPCs in the hack, some of them have really funny dialogue, while others can be very useful or feature side quests for the player to accomplish, adding to the amount of content to indulge in. Lastly, the expansions on the already existing locations are pretty interesting. New areas filled with goodies or people to talk to are always neat and provide more content for the player to enjoy. Some examples include Cinnabar Island being given a volcano that you can explore, a university within Celadon that also features plenty of people mentioning other regions, and the Onyx Tunnel that extends all the way to a new island populated with the newly added pre-evolutions and evolutions. It's always neat when pre-existing areas are given new additions, especially when they fit the location's theme. It's kinda always awkward when something is just placed in and it doesn't really work, so it's great that they took their time to make sure these things fit perfectly. With Kanto expanded to such greatness through the new locations and expanded ones, there's obviously got to be some way to explore the land with such ease. Thankfully, the several quality of life improvements make that exploration a cinch. First off, Extreme Yellow offers a ton of new options to select from to fine-tune your experience to your liking. There's even more options available in your room next to the stairs loaded with several extra options. Options like to change the level cap to either stop all experience gain when a certain threshold is reached, or have your Pokemon disobey you entirely if they're over-leveled. Other options like to make the battle luck in or against your favor, not for me considering my luck is already not too great that I know of. And there's also an option to turn on a randomizer. And you can also adjust the settings for it all in that same menu. As for some quality of life additions, there is a run button within the game and it's always a plus to have. And it also works when you're surfing. Backspace has also been greatly increased but is not infinite, but it's still possible to carry a ton of items. The use another prompt has been implemented within the game whenever a repel runs out, so you can just use another without opening your bag again. And the existence of new evolution items added for Pokemon that require trading, as well as a couple substitutes for items that do not exist within this hack. There's also a ton of battle-related additions to the game. The ability to press start on any move you have and see its details while in battle just in case you forgot how much the move does or any extra effects that it might have. And then also, when learning a new move, you get to see a comparison between the move being learned and whatever move you're hovering above, making sure you make the correct decision. The already caught indicator also makes an appearance with this hack, which is always a welcome addition. And lastly, some moves have been buffed to match their modern counterparts, most importantly Leech Life. The game also grants you a cheat candy, in order to help level up any Pokemon you might catch at low levels so they can catch up easier. But I would highly recommend just training them so you can get that juicy stat experience. You'll need it all because this game is quite the doozy, and it does not pull any punches. Extreme Yellow is a fairly difficult hack. Thankfully it's not Kaizo levels of absurd, but it's still no cakewalk. All the AI for the trainers have been tuned up to make better decisions, utilize strategies in battle, and possess stronger Pokemon. Each gym leader is also equipped with a full party, with most members referencing the anime or other media. They are also maxed out on stat experience, so they're no joke. Your rival also puts up a really tough fight, and frequently they swap their team around, making it very impossible to really plan ahead with each encounter, which Extreme Yellow does add in a couple more encounters with them. The hack also adds in a new format of battles called inverse battles, where the type matchups are reversed, making super effective moves become not very effective and vice versa. Normally these battles appear right before a gym leader and can catch you off guard easily if you're not paying attention. I really like these new battles since they add more of a variety to the gameplay while also being easy to understand. There's also a couple of extra battles scattered throughout the game that can easily give you a hard time, but nothing impossible. My only gripe with the battles is how some fights will have the AI read exactly what your next move is, causing strategy to just become hoping for a certain move to miss, like the opponent knowing you'll heal a status ailment and just use it again, making you waste your turn completely. Other than that, I believe the difficulty was both challenging and fun. Pokemon Extreme Yellow is a hack that I thoroughly enjoyed, and was amazed by the amount of content put into it. It truly felt that it pushed Pokemon Yellow to its limits with how much effort went into the hack, and I was also really pleased with the amount of customization I had when I was playing it. The difficulty itself wasn't outrageous, but challenging enough to test my skills and knowledge as well as get rid of some old habits. There's also loads of post-game content to check out once the original story has been beaten, adding to the already absurd amount of content the game has. I think Rainbow Meadow Pigeon did a wonderful job with this hack, and I highly recommend anyone thinking of playing Pokemon Yellow to try it. That is, if you're up for the challenge.